Hey everyone, welcome to this daily Sidereal astrology forecast. This is for Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019. All right, so today, quite a deep day shifting in with the astrology, maybe some things shifting from the deeper dimensions. We do have the moon finishing up Libra going into deep Scorpio. So the first part of the day, probably around finding balance and harmony and mutuality. In our relationships perhaps, or maybe just finding balance in our lives in general. This was very much the energy from yesterday as well. But as the day unfolds, we do have the moon shifting into deep Scorpio, which places a theme on things like transformation, self-empowerment, and seeking the truth. So really good to do this, seek the truth with ourselves, self-empower ourselves, transform. These kinds of things could be the theme, and just a really good way of working with the later part of the day. But along with this, Pluto, the modern ruler of Scorpio, is going station direct tomorrow. So we usually don't feel this that personally, but there may be a bit of a shift regarding some of these deeper things in our life. So going into the next few days, asking ourselves, how can we implement a bit more of this empowerment? And with Pluto, really non-attachment, so that we can do some of this change and transformation. All right, so let's take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, so here's the sky for this Wednesday. And again, we are using the actual size of the constellations as seen in the visible sky. For example, Ophiuchus is a constellation that is separate from Scorpio. And so this system, for example, is taking this into account. And this does change the signs. Obviously, Ophiuchus isn't part of mainstream astrology. So if you are new to the channel, and especially if you notice some of the dates are different, be sure to check out that link down below for more information. All right, so let's take a look here first at the moon's placement, which represents the theme of the day and the sort of internal environment, collectively speaking. So first of all, shifting out of Libra, the first part of the day will still likely have that frequency. This is the energy of yesterday around balance. So the theme on the first half may be good for finding balance. This could be in our personal lives. If there's anything in our life we want to bring back into balance, it's an excellent day to do that. But also in our interpersonal lives as well, such as through relationships, finding harmony, mutuality, justice, things like that are likely the theme, the first part. But as the day unfolds, we do have the moon shifting into deeper Scorpio, which places a theme on matters of transformation, self-empowerment, and the truth. So really good to cultivate this stuff the later part of the day. If there's anything we can dive deep with and accept, this can really help facilitate the transformation process. And this isn't always easy, of course. You know, the moon is the side of ourself that does have that protection, right? It wants to protect ourselves, maintain security and emotional stability. But Scorpio unveils all of this, right? And, you know, there's nothing very emotionally secure about emotional transformation, right? So it is not going fully into it, but in our own time, in our own pace, in our own way, allowing ourselves to dive deep and accept these deeper dimensions of life or our interpersonal life or of ourselves, that then leads to the transformation, because it really is through that acceptance process that we do transform. So great day for this stuff. Also facing fears and connecting to the truth. Also great for research and uncovering hidden things in general, just about life in general. All right, so this is in the context of the fact that we are still in the very early phase of the lunar cycle, still in the crescent phase. So if there was anything that shifted from the weekend, it's still a great time of implementation. It is this fresh new start of the lunar cycle, and we're just slowly building some momentum, gaining some energy collectively as we go through this lunar month here that just started. And this is all in the context of Virgo, where we have all the fast movers. So the greater context, we could say, of the lunar month is around improvement and refinement, doing the work, doing those things on a routine basis that really do help us create structure and embetterment with ourselves and our lives. All right, so along with those placements, there's no major aspects going exact today, but we do have this Pluto going station, who's going to go direct here tomorrow. So we usually don't feel this very personally. It's not like if Mercury is going direct where we really do notice it with our minds, for example. Pluto doesn't represent our personality or anything that we can really identify with in a sense. It's essentially a very, very deep part of ourself that does want to induce change, does want to transform, and again, just like Scorpio, does want to connect to the truth. And so this is going to be shifting. What's essentially happening here is the past 6 months, this kind of stuff that maybe does involve depth or transformation or empowerment in our life has been kind of either on the back burner or been more internal, right? It hasn't been manifesting as externally in our life. So now that's starting to shift. As we approach the later part of this week, we may start to notice subtly that it's a good time for external implementation of self-empowerment or of transformation. And a really good way of working with this with Pluto is through non-attachment. Oftentimes what we'll find with Pluto is whatever it is we're not attached to, it then induces change, right? Because we can't change if we're still attached to things, right? And so Pluto helps strip away all of those attachments so that we can change and transform in a way that maybe is uncomfortable, but super, super valuable when it comes to our life path. So anything that we can do to set intentions for that to start to implement going into the later part of the week, any change, transformation, self-empowerment, right? The death and rebirth kind of energy, the willingness to have the death, which is like that non-attachment, which then leads to the rebirth, right? Could be super, super powerful. And this is in the collective sense about our beliefs. And so what I would say is going into the rest of the week is, how can we transform our beliefs, our perspectives, our worldview, so that we can access more of this spirit for life, which is Sagittarius. Pluto transiting Sagittarius here sidereally. So if you do want to see where this is happening specifically for you, down in the comment section, there will be some dates there, or rather some houses there, so you can see exactly which area this is transforming for you. You can see that for your sun, your moon, or your ascendant signs. Make sure you're watching those or seeing those for your sidereal signs, but that can give you a more detailed look in terms of where these transformations might be taking place for you. All right, so that's the sort of backdrop there. Again, none of this is very personal, but as we get into the rest of the week, maybe starting to notice some of that. On also a minor note, we do have the moon sextiling Mars and trining Chiron. So we could be feeling maybe a bit supportive for initiating things or asserting ourselves, or a bit independent today on a minor note. And then trining Chiron does support healing, which is kind of nice considering we do have this deeper energy here today. There is some support for healing, and this could be, of course, spiritual, mental, emotional healing like Scorpio often represents, but also physical healing, which again can also be part of that transformation process. So it's a little bit of support with that. But the major theme of the day is around depth, truth, empowerment, transformation. Anything we can do to induce that in our life consciously and intentionally is a great way of working with this energy. But do give it some time. This will mostly be the later part of the day and going into tomorrow. But the first part still very much about finding balance, right? Libra, the theme likely on relationships, finding mutuality, and just general balance in our lives. All right, so everyone, have a fantastic day. Thank you again for watching. Now, if you do want to stay up to date on these daily videos, do click that notification bell down below. That'll give you a notification each time these videos are uploaded. But thank you again for all of your support, and I will see you all next time for the next daily video. Take care.